Let's dive into a story set in the heart of Central America, where we meet a young girl named Judy. Her adventure kicks off in the modest surroundings of El Salvador and takes her all the way to the vibrant streets of San Francisco, painting her life with the rich colors of music, love, and unwavering strength.
Yes, I've had a very wonderful life. I can think back to my early days in El Salvador, and especially coming to this country. My sister and I flew over, and mind you, this was during the wartime. We were on a DC-3 and flying over a volcanic area. And so consequently, there were a lot of air pockets. And one of them was so pronounced that we sunk into the ground practically. And we were holding glasses of orange juice. Well, that orange juice landed on the man in front of us, right over his head. And that's one memory that my sister, to this day, we laugh about it. And it's a fun memory.
Judy, a young girl embarking on a journey from El Salvador to the U.S., her heart full of excitement for new beginnings and her path brimming with the unexpected twists and turns of adventure. In San Francisco, Judy's grit and spirit shine brightly. She's tackling a new language and culture, yet her youthful enthusiasm stays lit, unaffected by the hurdles of settling in.
Just about the second day after we arrived, we were enrolled in a Catholic school. And of course, at that time, I didn't speak English. So I had to learn English. But when you're young, you pick up the language very fast. And within 6 months, I was fluent. I mean, you jabber away, and then you couldn't stop me from talking. It was a wonderful, wonderful school also. Would you believe that I still have a friend from those days in that grammar school that I keep in touch with? Yeah.
Judy's trip back to El Salvador feels like a deep dive into her origins, a heartfelt journey reconnecting her with her heritage and adding depth to who she is.
That's right. I went back to El Salvador to study my high school there. My mother wanted us, to learn the language, to learn about our culture, to get to know our family, and to pick up on different values, because the values were old-fashioned values. I mean, they had to send us to school with a chaperone. It was very old-fashioned. And lo and behold, I met the sister of the one that was in San Francisco. And again, I had to relearn the language. And people thought I was snobbish because I couldn't speak Spanish, but I had to relearn it. Back to San Francisco, back to relearning English. I wanted to be able to use both languages. So I studied business so that I could be in an international, world trade environment. And also, I maintained a lot of Hispanic friends so that I wouldn't lose the language. I had made a lot of effort in learning it. And to this day, I can say I'm bilingual.
Over the years, Judy forms friendships that last a lifetime, celebrating each gathering as a tribute to the strong connections and shared past they hold dear. By a happy twist of fate, Judy meets her soulmate in a chance encounter, setting off on a shared voyage filled with love and partnership.
My mother and a cousin of mine had gone to a party. And as I was sitting there, my cousin says to me, "Oh, look at that man, he's so good looking. And he's all by himself there." She said, "Why don't you flirt with him?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not gonna flirt with him." Well, she said, I'll do a bet that if you flirt with him, he'll come and ask you to dance. So I did. And he did. He came and asked me to dance, and it was love at first sight. I mean, it was the beginning of a happy life together.
Music turns into Judy's refuge, a wellspring of comfort and inspiration, as she delves into the realm of classical music, each note echoing the melodies of her soul.
In San Francisco, they allowed some of us to do volunteer ushering. So for many years, I ushered at the Opera House. In those days, there was no symphony hall, so the symphony also performed at the Opera House. And I was able to see a lot of wonderful artists, among them Pavarotti, Placido Domingo, Jose Carreras. I even saw Stravinsky conducting one of his compositions. And like that, many, many outstanding stars.
In the midst of it all, Judy's mother stands as a pillar of elegance and wisdom. Her global insights and mastery of languages, not just attributes, but treasures, lovingly passed down to Judy.
My mother, she was a great influence on us. She was born in El Salvador, but her parents decided to send her to Europe so that she could learn new languages. So she was studying first in London, where she learned English, and then in Brussels, where she learned French. This was a Catholic school, and she loved the atmosphere there. I don't think she wanted to return to El Salvador, and she decided she was going to become a nun. Being an only child, my grandmother said, no way. So she went, and in those days there were no planes, so they had to travel by ship. So she went to Europe, got my mother out of the convent, and back to El Salvador. And in El Salvador, she met my father, who was a neighbor. And they fell in love, got married, and had 3 daughters. But eventually they divorced, but they remained wonderful friends.
Together with her husband, Judy embarks on a global quest, their love guiding them through the mysteries of the world, seeking out its hidden gems.
Being a German, they have wanderlust. They love to travel, and we started traveling together. First trip was we went to Europe for 4 months, and we bought a car there and drove all over the place. So I think we got to see 13 countries on that first trip. And then after that, he was an avid sailor. So we started traveling to different countries, chartering a sailboat, and then going island hopping in the Caribbean, in Europe, in Thailand, Fiji, Tonga. But also he liked to do adventure travel. So we went to Papua New Guinea, where the cannibals are there. And I think one of the Rockefellers disappeared, and they don't know whether he was eaten by the cannibals or not. But we stayed clear of them.
When faced with deep loss, Judy's inner resilience comes to the forefront, steering her through the grief, her spirit unbroken as she charts a course towards new purpose and hope.
My husband loved sailing. We decided to come to live here in Florida. We even brought the boat over here. But 2 months after we arrived, he had a fatal heart attack. And he had not yet retired, so he had his business ongoing. There were a lot of projects midstream. So I called one of his former colleagues in California who came out, and he went through the house and categorized things that belonged to the house, belonged to the boat, and belonged to the business. And he said, ship all the business stuff to me in California and I will complete the projects, which is what he did. And eventually I sold the business to them.
As she reaches the later chapters of her life, Judy finds peace in a tranquil haven, her existence mirroring the enduring nature of love and the contentment found in savoring each moment with gratitude.
Oh, I love living here. I think I feel blessed, and so do so many of the residents. A lot of people come here with apprehensions, and once you live here, you realize what a great place it is. I think number one for me is relationships, because you find some wonderful, supportive friends. And then, of course, the activities. They have so many activities. A good number of them health related. Exercise, Tai Chi, swimming, water aerobics, and then strengthening exercises. You name it, they have it. But in addition to that, they have a lot of recreational activities. They take us to restaurants, to concerts, to museums. So it's a wonderful life. I'm a Catholic, and if I didn't have my faith, I don't know how I would face all the vicissitudes in life. But the fact that I'm a firm believer, I have that as a wonderful foundation, and it has helped me through many trials. My grandfather used to say, if your problem has a solution, don't worry about it. If it doesn't have a solution, don't worry about it. So whenever I have a problem, I remind myself of that, and it helps.